The first story of the night comes from the Paranormal Encounter subreddit and is written by user Shawarma Paglu. I don't know if people will believe this, and honestly, sometimes I don't even know what to believe myself. Back in 2024, I moved to Kota, India. For those who don't know, Kota is basically a city where hundreds of thousands of students move every year to prepare for extremely competitive college entrance exams. It was my first time ever living away from home. I'm from South India, and everything felt different there. At first, I had a roommate, but after some time, he changed hostels, and my warden shifted me to the 7th floor. I didn't think much of it at first, but later I realized I was completely alone on that floor. There were 4 apartments, and mine was the only occupied one. This kind of reminds me already of the story with, remember when Taylor wanted us to go to Montreal and go stay in a hostel? And then we're like, dude, we're all like, I don't know what it's like.
I'm still triggered by that trip.
Yeah, I know you are. I don't know. And to be fair,
we're like, it's like 3 a.m. and the guy's knocking, but like everyone's like, I think we should lock the door. And so I locked it, not realizing there was a duplex upstairs.
Yeah, there was no warning.
I'm in the furthest room. And these two are next to the door, just ignoring someone banging and knocking on the door.
I was sleeping.
Like 2 a.m.
I was sleeping.
Just ignoring it.
We're in the middle
and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to see what's up. And it's some dude yelling and cussing and saying, like, why would you lock this door? We're in the duplex above you, blah, blah, blah. We've been here an hour, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, there was no warning.
There was no warning. No sign saying to not lock the door.
The Airbnb was not the best. But anyways, the reason why I brought that up is because our friend Taylor really wanted to do a hostel. And I don't know what it's like in other countries, but around here, like, if you're, we were all around, like, 30 at that point, and like
that wasn't 4 years ago. That was like probably like 20. That was like 6 years ago, maybe.
Okay, well, you were upper 20s. It just felt like, I don't know, like too old to be staying in one. I don't know.
Also true.
So I don't know if that's normal in other countries, but in the U.S.,
maybe it was 4 years.
Hostels are usually reserved for like younger people, not older people. It's kind of creepy, like here when we're all doing it. But obviously, this is a student, so very different. The first month was actually pretty normal. I was busy with classes, studying, and tests. I was getting decent scores, and everything seemed fine. Around December, though, I started feeling something I couldn't quite explain. It felt like someone was watching me all the time. You know that feeling when you suddenly turn around because you're sure someone is standing behind you? It was like that, except it kept happening. Every time I looked, there was nobody there. I ignored it and blamed stress. Then, I started seeing black shadows. Not actual people, just dark shapes moving at the edge of my vision. Every time I looked directly at them, they were gone. I kept telling myself it was because I was tired. Then, things got worse. I started hearing my name being called. Not like a real voice coming from the room. It felt more like another voice inside my head. Sometimes it would just call my name. Sometimes it would tell me to wake up. I know that sounds insane, but that's the closest way I can describe it. Around that time, I was becoming really isolated. Some days I wouldn't even leave my apartment. I'd stay inside watching shows, eating instant noodles, studying and sleeping. Looking back now, I wasn't in a good mental state at all. One night, something happened that completely broke me. I woke up and felt like something heavy was sitting on my chest. I couldn't move properly, and I remember feeling pure panic. Then, I heard a voice. It sounded angry and desperate at the same time. The only thing I remember clearly is hearing, "Don't make the mistake I made." I don't know if I was dreaming, hallucinating, half asleep, or what, but it felt real enough that I packed my bags the next morning and decided I was leaving Kota. That's a good decision. I agree with you there. I think you're smarter than like 95% of the stories I read. Like, that's pretty good. Usually, I shouldn't say that. It's actually a lot of people just don't have a choice. They can't leave.
Yeah, dude. Some people don't have an option.
No, they don't. You're right. But some people totally do, and they're like, "Nah, I'm gonna just stick it out." To be fair, I think most of the things I'm sourcing are horror movies. And
horror movies, yeah.
They just won't leave. It's like, like someone will or get like I know this is not what happened, but someone will get like thrown across the room by like an unknown entity, and people are like, "Yeah, it's okay. We can live with that. We'll work around it.
We can work with
This I can work with." So good on you. Good on you. Also, as far as the different reasoning, but the staying up for eating ramen noodles, kind of lounging in your apartment, being stuck studying, totally been there. Although you have it worse. I didn't have some entity that was stalking me. So the problem was, however, that my ticket was 2 days later. Those 2 days were honestly the worst days of my life. I was terrified all the time. I was having thoughts that scared me. I didn't tell my parents because I knew they would panic. Only a few friends knew what was happening, and they stayed with me as much as they could. I don't think they'll ever realize how much that helped me. That's cool. You got some good friends there. It's really nice of them.
Yeah, Austin would have just been like, oh, well, that sucks.
It's true. If Fernando's going through this, I'd just be like, well, man, I guess you're on your own. Sorry. When the day finally came to leave, I felt relieved, like I had survived something. During the train journey around 2 a.m., the train stopped at a station. I couldn't sleep, so I stepped outside. What I saw wasn't paranormal or anything, but after everything I'd been through, it genuinely scared me. There wasn't a single person there. No passengers, no railway staff, nobody. The station wasn't abandoned or damaged. It was just completely empty. It was dark, silent, and strangely clean. I stood there for a few seconds, and the silence felt so unnatural that I got back into the train without saying a word and just waited for it to move. Sounds like you slipped into the back rooms, honestly. That strikes me as a very liminal, back rooms-esque situation. So I think, yeah, you're doing all the right moves. So good on you. When I finally reached home, I felt like I had escaped. I didn't even want my hostile clothes near me. I left them outside and later got rid of them. I went home, took a shower, and cried. I was exhausted mentally and physically. I thought everything was finally over. A few days later, after my entrance exam, I woke up during the night and saw another black shadow in my room. For a second, my heart nearly stopped. I started yelling, and my whole family woke up. The next day, I finally told them everything that had happened. The strangest part wasn't their reaction, though. It was my mother's. She just froze while listening to me. Then, she told me that for months, she'd been having disturbing dreams about me, and that's why she kept asking me to come back home. I never took those things seriously, but seeing her reaction genuinely unsettled me. My parents first took me to a psychiatrist. The medication helped me sleep properly again. Later, they also contacted a spiritual healer. I thought it was a waste of money and told them so. But the weird thing is that after that period, everything stopped. The feeling of being watched disappeared. The fear disappeared. The shadows mostly disappeared. It was like somebody had switched something off overnight. Even today, I don't know what happened. Maybe it was extreme stress, isolation, and a lack of sleep. Maybe my mind was breaking under pressure. Maybe there was another explanation. I genuinely don't know. All I know is that those few months remain the most terrifying experience of my life, and even now, years later, thinking about that empty floor and those nights still gives me chills.
Thank you, Shawarma Paglu.
Yeah, thank you. That was you are the first story of Brewed on Reddit, so congratulations.
Congratulations.
And like I said, we are brand new. I really, really hope I did your story justice. So I apologize in advance if I did not, but I really tried.
Yeah.
So again, thank you. I love the story. I'm glad you made it out of that situation. It seems like, you still have, some.
Sounds like it was a dark and disturbing period in your life, and I'm glad you're doing better.
Definitely. I also hope you passed your entrance exam. I don't think you mentioned it in there, so I hope you did pass. I think you at least deserve that after dealing with all of that.
This next story comes from the No Sleep subreddit and is written by user Unauthoriized with 2 eyes. I can only assume what my mom and I encountered was a doppelganger. Before I start, my dad used to only work at night. Anyways, when I was 6 to 7 years old, I lived in a townhouse with my mom and dad, up until my mom passed away less than a couple months later. And she was pouring me some milk in the kitchen like every other night, and I was winding down for school the next day. There was nothing scary about this night, and I was just waiting for my mom to pour milk out and looking out into the living room in front of me, looking at things and just waiting. However, after swiveling my head from looking around, my dad had appeared in front of a closet door in our living room. It didn't scare me at first, since I just assumed it was my dad, but looking back, there was no noise ever made. Our doors and floors creaked, and with how quiet it was, we would have heard anyone moving around. However, what was so scary about it was my dad was just standing there and staring at us from across the room. It wasn't scary at first, since I still was under the impression that it was my dad, but the longer he kept standing there and staring at me, the scarier it got. He didn't move an inch, didn't blink, and the longer I kept looking at him, I noticed his eyes were too small. They were wide open, but small enough to where it looked wrong. I remember I started to blink and rub my eyes because I thought maybe I was seeing things, but it just kept standing there for a good minute longer until after a blink, it just disappeared. No noise at all. There was no way, considering it disappeared in a blink, for it to have humanly moved that fast without making some kind of sound. The only way it could have disappeared as fast as it did was if it slammed the door shut behind it. I remember how terrified I was at that point and looking at my mom to see if she saw it too, but when she didn't say anything, I assumed I just hallucinated it for years. That was until a few years ago. I was telling my dad about that night, and he told me that my mom had also seen it, but due to her mental health problems and me not saying anything to her, or him, about it, I haven't said anything when I looked at her. He dismissed it as a hallucination. Nothing quite like that has ever happened to me again. But that exact experience was the reason for years I couldn't sleep without a light on. Before that day, I was not afraid of the dark. I didn't believe in ghosts. Didn't even understand people could actually die at that point and was not really exposed to religion, at least not recently. Every night after that incident until we moved, I was petrified to even sleep in my room. Thank you, Unauthorized. I've definitely felt that way in my life before, where I didn't understand the concept of death or dying or the afterlife or a spiritual astral plane or anything like that. So there's always something in your life that breaks that experience. Usually, like for me, it was like the passing of my grandma. That was when I realized, oh, we're not here forever. Life is short, etc., etc. But it sounds like this was it for you, and that you saw definitely something that was not your father that night.
So I actually kind of have a doppelganger story to drop in here, which I mentioned.
Oh, is
Yeah.
it the cousin stall one?
No. That sounds terrible.
No, hey, listen.
That is a ghost story.
That is a ghost story. It's not a weird sex thing.
The cousin stall story. No, that's for another day.
It's the bathroom stall. Your cousin, you were there. It's fine. It's fine. Nothing sexual happened. It's a ghost story.
So no, my doppelganger story, which is actually of my wife. It was the last house we were in, the one up in Champlain.
I didn't like that house. Your guest bedroom creeped me out.
Sam didn't like that house either. Again, talk about that more in our time. We've got plenty of time, but she freaking hated the house. But there was one time,
for spiritual reasons or for like just structural reasons.
She didn't like. She thought there was something bad in that house. Like she thought there was something really bad in that house.
Yeah.
And we're like,
definitely.
you know, like she's like
Definitely.
typically not spooked very much by that stuff, but yeah, she was not having it. Anyways, so there was one. This is like maybe, I don't know, 8 months before we moved, and this was not the reason why we moved. But the way our upstairs was set up, it was a smaller house, but we had our bedroom, and then you had to walk out the bedroom. Then you could either go straight into this little middle area where the staircase to go downstairs was, or you go down this little short hallway, and at the end of it is the bathroom. That was it. There was nothing else over there. And
You're talking about the upstairs?
Upstairs, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was talking to her about her. She's like, oh, I need to go to the bathroom. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll meet you downstairs. So she goes down the hallway to the bathroom. And again, there is nowhere else to go but the bathroom. That is it. It's on the second floor. And I'm like, okay, I'll meet you down there. I didn't say that, but I'm thinking that. And I go down the stairs, I walk into the kitchen, and she walks out of the downstairs bathroom. And I was like, and like her like, the face I made was enough for her to be like, what's wrong? And I was like, that's not possible. You shouldn't be walking out of this bathroom. You went to the bathroom upstairs.
But you saw her walk into the bathroom.
I saw her walk into the bathroom.
And like my question is, here's me being logical about it, right?
Okay.
Because I know your layout. You're talking about the bathroom like that was right before your bedroom, right?
Yeah, the little one.
That little one. That's where she walked into,
yes.
Right? I remember it was also near the entrance to the stairs.
Yes.
So like I'm saying, my logical way is like, can you not be certain that she did go right, but like it looked like she went to the bathroom, but maybe like
yeah.
Or which because the stairs were to the right.
Walking out of the bathroom. The stairs were straight ahead. She went left down the hallway to the bathroom. I looked to my left and watched her close the door to go into that bathroom. And then I walked down the stairs. Yeah, and then I walked down the stairs like
so something close. No. Yeah. Listen, no. Are you sure that the stairs in the bathroom were not on the same side, and that it looked like it's an illusion, right? That it looked like she walked to the bathroom, closed the door, but really she went downstairs, and maybe you like tied your shoe for a minute.
I didn't.
And then you walked and followed
straight by her, beelined it to the stairs. I watched her close the door, go in the bathroom as I went straight down the stairs. Like there was no stopping, there was no nothing, there was no I forgot this in my bedroom. Nothing. I went straight by there. Went downstairs, and then she walked out of the bathroom downstairs.
Did you go back upstairs to see if the door was closed?
I did. The door was open.
And was it? But it was closed.
Yeah.
When you walked down.
Yeah.
How sure? Were you tired?
No. This was like I fresh out of the shower. Everything. I just got dressed. Had my coffee. We were actually going to get coffee. I was good. I swear to God, as one of the freakiest moments in my life. Shit, I was like, what the hell just happened? And like, I don't have many ghost stories, but that is one. That is my one doppelganger story. There's a doppelganger.
Are you being for real? Or are you just like
I
BSing
swear to God,
right
I'm not BSing.
story?
I don't BS this
off
stuff.
Off the record.
Dude, I'm not. I swear to God. I'm not BSing it. I'm not. I swear to God. I told you this story before, didn't I?
Yeah, but I think at the time I I didn't say it out loud, but like my same thinking that I had just now is what I used to think. I'm like, oh, he's just crazy because like I was almost positive that house. You're talking about the one that was on the border of Montreal, right?
Canada, yeah.
Canada. I thought I remembered the layout. We're outside the guest room, which by the way, I hated the guest room because there was like this little like tiny room that wasn't really a closet.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Connected to it.
Almost
and
like
that's
a
why
nursery almost.
Yeah, and I never wanted, like, whenever you offered me the guest bedroom, I'm like, no, I'll just sleep on the couch. It's like, I don't want to go up
No
there.
one wanted to sleep in there. Everyone fucking hated that room. No.
Yeah, it just felt really weird. But,
I'm not religious, so I don't know how to, like, I swear to God, it doesn't mean as much.
That was when I was
don't
more, I'm going to be honest with you, that was when I was more, like, I'm definitely not as spiritualite as I used to be. But even today, if I probably was to sleep in that house, I would still not sleep in that.
Yeah,
room.
I don't blame. As I'm getting older, and this is not just like this isn't a bit. I'm being serious.
Yeah.
As I'm getting older, I am starting to believe in vibes of areas a little more. I don't know really what that means, but like I do feel a place can have really bad vibes. I don't know how to explain it.
So, what did you do the rest of that day? Did you just ignore it? Like, did you just move on and just like carry it out of sight, out of mind?
Just carried it on because of
what about Sam?
She kind of brushed it off. Maybe she's a skinwalker. Maybe the real Sam disappeared and I'm with the skinwalker.
To stay on this story real quick, because it's actually fascinating the fuck out of me. How much did that play into you wanting to leave that house and move to Plattsburgh? Like genuinely. Like, and not that specific instance, but just like
there was
the
few.
vibes. The
vibes weren't good. And to kind of piggyback off that,
Like, did you actually feel like you were in a haunted house? Like, you needed to call like Ed and Lorraine Warren?
I don't think I saw anything.
Like, did it make you believe in ghosts a little bit?
It made me wonder if there was something. Don't get me wrong. Like, I never saw anything like I would label as
like Sam's a believer, right? So I'm guessing she thought it was haunted or what?
Yeah, she thinks it's haunted. Totally. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I didn't see anything like I would label as demonic, but there were a couple incidents. Like, there was that one. That was the big one.
It was because you had the sand and the Ouija boards in the house. That's why.
Weirdly enough,
Did it follow you to the new home?
No, this house has been pretty quiet. Totally quiet. Nothing.
And you brought the Ouija boards and the demon sand?
Yes. One thing I will say that actually makes me feel
it's probably because you dropped the sand and it was open, and then like my fear came true, right? Where you drop the sand and then the sand falls out, so you just put it back in, but it's too late. It's out of the jar.
Already out. It's already out in the ether. The one thing that actually makes me think that A, something was wrong with that house, and B, this house is fine.
So spooked right now, dude.
Piper, she was a different dog for like the 3 years we were there. Not like mean or anything like that. She might
more alert, more on edge, or what?
No, well, for those of you, obviously, like Freddie knows Piper, but you guys don't. Piper is a very she's a hyperactive dog. She's very friendly. She's very outgoing. She constantly wants to play with you. She wants you to pet her and love her and all that happy stuff. Like,
yeah, she's pretty good.
We bring her to Fernando's house, and all she wants to do is see Lacey.
She doesn't want to work anymore.
Lacey wants nothing to do with Piper. Lacey is Fernando's cat.
Yeah. But she's very good with cats.
But the point is, when we moved into that house, even with the big yard and everything like that, she was inside the house. She was very reserved. Like, she would just kind of like hide a lot. She would just kind of like stay out of sight. She would constantly like stay under like tables and beds. She just didn't like it. And when we went outside, she'd be fine, but it was in the house she really didn't like. And I kind of chalked it up like, because she's almost 10 years old now. I was like, oh well, she's just getting older. It's part of what dogs act like. But when we moved here, instantly all the energy came back. And don't get me wrong, she has a yard to run around here, but she had a lot of land to run around there. She had all, we're out kind of like if you're not familiar, we were up on the border of Canada, so there's a lot of like farmland and stuff like that. So there's a ton of room for her to run around. And where we live in the city, but there's less room, you know what I mean? We're kind of more on top of each other here. And she is
still got a nice sized yard.
Oh yeah, I mean, she's got plenty of room, but she loves it here. It's like she's a puppy again. And like I said, she's banging on the door of 10 years old. So Piper did not like that house. Sam did not like that house. I have a couple other stories from that house, but save us from, I want to blow all my stories.
Yeah, we'll probably maybe do like an episode where we just talk about our own spookiest experiences.
I'd be okay with that. That'd be fun.
I'd be fun with that. That's a good one.
That's a really good idea, actually.
But yeah, no. So how much would you say that played into you actually wanting to get out of that house?
It played 90% into me leaving the house, but not because of me. It's because Sam fucking hated that house. She absolutely hated it.
That was a big reason?
Oh, that's why, like, because a lot of people were like, why? Because
I remember you were happy there, and then just one day all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm selling the house.
Like, I'm not even joking, our mortgage.
That's like my biggest fear. Like, that's why I want to, like, I'll probably never be a homeowner, but if I ever am, I'm just like, we're building that sucker from the ground up, and I'm gonna look up and dig up, because I'm a historian. I'll look up the archival land
make sure
records.
The grounds aren't evil.
And it's because I will never forget the movie fucking Poltergeist. I was like 10 years old, and I'm like, why the fuck would you show me this? I'm looking at my parents. I hated that clown, and I hated the fact that it was built on an Indian burial ground. So when like it's raining that one night, she falls into like what's supposed to going to be the pool, and like the skeletons are like dragging her down. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
I think they used real skeletons for that. Dead serious.
I think so. Yeah.
Because it was cheap.
I remember that was one of the movies that was cursed, like The Exorcist, where like a bunch of the actors like died not long after.
Which on the last podcast, if you're new, we did an episode on The Exorcist. We still get views and stuff.
And the channel died.
So go check that out if you haven't.
That was probably the last one where I was spiritual, because I didn't want to talk about it, and then I blamed her for why the channel died.
Like, to make this is to give the viewers much like hyper, like, to prove that, I'm not BSing about all this. Our mortgage, no joke, more than doubled to move where we live now, and I don't regret it.
I like your new house.
I do too. I love it. But I really like the last house too. But trust me, like,
the basement gives me bad vibes, but it's fine.
It's just an 80s. Well, it was built in the late 60s, but it's a very, like, 80s basement.
I probably wouldn't hate sleeping down there. if all your Halloween decorations weren't down there.
That's fair. They're all getting moved into the shed, so don't worry.
Oh.
All right, next story.
Next story.
The following story was actually sent in by one of our viewers. I didn't actually have to go ask you guys. You sent it in to me, so thank you. This Reddit user is Casually Hollow. We had a guy over to service the boiler. All of us kids were at school. My dad was deployed, and my mom was at work. But we knew the dude, so just left the door unlocked for him. He mentioned a few days later to my mom that he was a bit offended that whoever was home did not come down to say hi. She said nobody was home while he was there, and he said he heard someone walking up and down the stairs a few times. There were several times my mom swore she heard someone opening and closing drawers in the kitchen in the middle of the night, but nobody was ever in there when she'd go check. Once I was home alone from school and sitting on the couch and felt someone blow into my ear. It happened again a few years later when I was alone in my bedroom trying to fall asleep. I sneezed while showering once and heard someone giggle and say, "Bless you." Screw that. Screw that. I yelled at them to get out, assuming it was one of my siblings. When I was dressed, I angrily went downstairs to complain to my mom about boundaries, only to find out none of my siblings were even home and she'd been downstairs the whole time. The next day I sneezed while showering and heard the same giggle. I was terrified. Yeah, hearing giggling in the shower is something I want to hear. Like, that's kind of creepy. I don't want anybody watching me in the shower.
My story stands that if there is an astral plane and afterlife, I will come and haunt you, and I'll leave clues whenever you take a hot, steamy shower.
Okay, I appreciate it. You should draw me little pictures, please.
Yeah. There'll just be very graphic SpongeBob pornography.
The only room in our house with AC is the room above the garage. I was staying in it at the time, and my mom had gone into my room to turn the AC on so it wouldn't be super hot when I got home. She went up later and noticed it had been cranked to as cold as it could go. The ghost got hot, I guess.
They like it cold.
They do like it. They do like it cold. Didn't think about that. She readjusted it to a reasonable temp, only to find later on it had once again been cranked as cold as it could go, even though nobody else was home to mess with it. You know, like, it's funny actually.
Maybe I'm fine renting an apartment. I don't care.
It's funny how things are connected, because at that last house, you remember the little guest house I had, right? That was like my game room house type deal.
Yeah, I almost considered renting it.
Yeah. I had an air conditioner in that room that because that place haunted. It gets
too?
hot. It gets very hot. So, and I had a lot of sensitive equipment in there. I had like my PC and everything in there.
Yeah, you had your $10,000 racing sim in there.
Close enough. But I would go in there sometimes and the fucking temperature would be cranked to hot, not cold. Cranked to hot. And I'd be like, what the hell? And that would happen constantly. So that's kind of interesting. Again, like in this story, it's cranking it to cold.
Maybe ghosts like it cold, demons like it hot. I don't know.
Maybe that's it. There was a demon in the house. Clearly, that must be it. Yeah. Okay. So now you got me thinking. I'm gonna overanalyze everything that happened in that house. I definitely got to go back and revisit.
I love it.
Oh, so you have a ghost, and I might have had a demon. So switching gears. My little sister was a toddler when we moved into that house and had a little play set that would sing songs and such. My dad noticed her room was quiet, which is always suspicious when you have a toddler. And he checked on her and found her sitting hunched over, looking scared. He asked what was wrong, and she said, "I don't want to play with the monster." Side note, the ghost we suspect is likely that of a young boy who passed away in the home after dealing with brain cancer. He probably would have looked pretty rough and potentially like a monster to a small kid. But probably the scariest one for me was our basement. Our basement has a finished section and an unfinished part, divided by walls and a door. The finished section was where my oldest brother was living at the time, and I would go down and play on his PlayStation when he was at work. The unfinished part was where we kept seasonal decorations and other odds and ends. One day, I was playing the PlayStation, and my dad was in the unfinished part of the basement pulling out Christmas decorations. I saw him take out some from the basement. He had to walk by me to get to the door leading outside. But I kept hearing what sounded like someone shoving stuff around the unfinished part. I called out to Dad if he needed any help, assuming he had entered through the little trap door that connects the unfinished basement to the garage. No reply. I called out again, and this time looked over my left shoulder towards the door leading into the unfinished part of the basement. My heart dropped because I saw somebody walk by, but it wasn't my dad. It was a shorter person, about my little sister's height at the time, but they had blonde hair, whereas my sister had long brown hair. I kept my eyes locked on the door, and in a moment of insane bravery, crept up to the door and looked into the unfinished basement. I looked left first, as that was the direction the person was going, but nobody was there. I whipped my head to the right, and the basement was totally empty. The trap door to the garage still firmly shut. I have never run so fast in my life, and I refused to go in the basement alone for years after that. I am convinced I saw the ghost of the little boy that passed away. I did end up living in the finished part of the basement while working at TSA, and never had anything odd happen, which was nice.
Thank you, Casually Hollow. That was very good. I like that.
Yeah, it sounds like you had a haunted house. I think that's a haunted house.
It's weird because I really don't believe as much as I used to. But I mean, like I said, when I talk about the stories that I experienced growing up in a future podcast, like there was definitely stuff that happened to me that I just failed to explain logically. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's some part of us, like conspiracy theory. Maybe there is like some kind of like weird thing where like once you hit a certain age, you kind of like lose your connection to the spiritual world, but maybe like kids can see something. Like kids and young adults, teenagers do see stuff. Like, because I saw stuff, my sister saw stuff, but like now as an adult, I'm like, I don't believe stuff that I like sometimes, like, I don't know, like I think the faucet will turn on or something by itself. I'm like, it's not a big deal or whatever. But like as a kid, when you experience stuff like that, it's just like, I can't really explain it. And then you think back to those experiences and you're just like, I still can't really explain that.
I think
like, that is pretty weird.
I think it might be, and not in everyone's case, because obviously there's plenty of believers and stuff like that who are believers till well into old age and the day they die.
Yeah.
But I do think a lot of it has to do with like societal norms. And it could also come down to like culture, because I do think, don't be wrong, it's very fair to pick on Americans for many things, trust me. But I don't think the vast majority of Americans, I mean, I'm wrong, but I feel like our culture isn't superstitious compared to a lot of others. Like, there's obviously superstitions, of course there are.
Yeah.
And superstitions are not necessarily, I mean, the U.S. is so big, like, different parts of the, have different, superstitions that go along with it and stuff. But I do think there's actual cultures where, like, the adults are kind of expected to believe, superstitions. Like, it's normal. It's not frowned upon. It's not...
Yeah, I mean, in Mexico, we believe that certain owls, like, we call them brujas, witches, and they do carry bad omens. And, I mean, creepy stuff has happened. And, I don't know, maybe, like, they're just ghost stories, but to make your kids behave. Like, maybe it's just an alternate route to religion. I don't know. But maybe superstitions carry with it some kind of like confirmation bias where like we're told something as a ghost story and then when we see it, we get freaked out. I don't know.
Could be. I mean, that's not a bad answer, actually. But
when stuff like that happens, or like, because I've been in situations where I thought I saw somebody, or like something really like,
yeah, totally.
Like no one was home and something happened to me and I'm like, okay, like, listen, like, I'm trying to be logical here, but I don't know how to fucking explain this.
Right, there's only so much logic I can try to apply to the situation before I have to start thinking about something else going on.
Exactly, dude.
No, I do agree, and, I don't get me wrong, like, I do think there comes a point where it's like, yeah, you run out of logic, and you're like, okay, well, what is this? But I do think we're just conditioned to try to apply as much logic as we possibly can to everything. I mean, I just think that's what we do with everything.
The scientific method.
Right.
Yeah.
So, because like we can't always jump to conclusions on everything. But
Yeah, we have to test. We have to fucking verify.
exactly. So, but once you've tested and verified, and you kind of run out of hypothesis and like test and verification that you can do,
Then you're like, well, shit, this is supernatural.
Yep, this is definitely a ghost.
It's definitely a ghost.
It's a ghost.
No
It's a demon. It's aliens. It's whatever. Whatever you think. Oh no, that was a good
circuit breaker, checking everything.
Check the circuit breaker. I also kind of like how you're saying like you think like kids can have like younger people have
like pets, right?
Yeah, but pets. And again, I know I just kind of got done talking about Piper at the house, but it's funny because I wonder sometimes if the house, because Sam was like positive like the house was haunted. Sometimes I wonder, because there's one instance, if something actually, the house wasn't haunted, but we brought something. And the reason why I say that is because the apartment before that house, it was literally the last day. I was literally touching up spots in the walls because, it was our apartment. I didn't want to get charged. So I was touching up some like marks on the walls and stuff. And Piper, I've never seen her ever bar her teeth and like have her hair stand up. You know what I mean? Like when a dog's like almost ready to attack. I've never seen her do that before this, what I'm about to say, and after. It was the last day, and I was touching up, and we were literally 5 minutes from leaving that apartment forever. And she stared up at the top corner of the exit door to our apartment and was baring her teeth, and her hair was standing straight up, and she would not take her eyes off it. And I actually was kind of like Piper, like kind of like doing this to snap her out of it, and she like wouldn't. And then finally, after like 10 to 15 seconds of doing that, she finally like almost like shook out of it and was like, okay. It was very
probably all
weird.
That creepy shit you collect, and yet you still go to odds and oddities.
We bought some more today, actually. I didn't
buy more creepy shit.
Sam bought some more.
And then you're like, well, geez, why do we keep getting haunted? I don't know. Could it be the cursed monkey's foot I fucking brought back? Nah, that's not it. How about this demon sand? No, that's not it.
Listen, I like collecting oddities and stuff like that, all right?
Wow, well, this sure is a mystery.
I never said I was a smart person, okay? Like, I never said that. I just like interesting things, alrighty?
You're fucking just dancing with the devil, and you're wondering why he keeps knocking, dude.
I don't think he's knocking anymore. I think he's walked in.
He's just walking in, fucking sitting on your couch, taking your food.
He's eating popcorn right now. I think he's petting Piper.
Hey, Piper, dude, just like, hey, that's my girl.
All right, we got one more story, guys. One more story to go.
Time for the grand finale. This final story of the night comes from someone who wishes to remain anonymous. It's very ominous of them. If you're listening, you'll know who you are, and we greatly appreciate you letting us use this story. When I was a child, I lived in a house in the West Midlands, UK. I was the only child to a single parent. Me and my mother moved into a property that was seriously haunted. I only recently found out about the burial ground, which explains all the odd experiences we had there. I'll start with what I saw in this house, and then move on to what my family experienced, which ultimately led us to moving into my grandparents'. As a child, I remember multiple occasions where I would not want to enter a cupboard that my toys were kept in, under the stairs. I always used to see a child hiding in there. They never wanted to look at me, and in my memories, I can't see their face. I was petrified to get my own toys out of the cupboard and always made my mother, who was also hesitant to. At times, scratching sounds around the room could be heard, like someone moving heavy furniture, but traveling up and down the ceiling and walls. There was no crawl space between the walls, and additionally, I used to see orbs and chase a blue one that I liked. Another weird thing that happened to me was instances of people watching me while I tried to sleep. The scariest experience happened on numerous occasions. I was at the bottom of the stairs, looking up, and two adult heads would pop around the corner. Dark, misty type of faces. Calling me up the stairs like they wanted me to be alone up there. Regarding my family's experiences, there was a time that a man and a woman were staring at my mom's friend. The males seemed very angry, and the woman was trying to pull her skin off of her face. Decorations that hung from the ceiling uncontrollably spinning, then stopping when told to. My mother always used to sense something following her around the house. My battery-powered toys randomly came on and then stopped when someone walked into the room. Unsure if related to ghosts, but every night, as I slept in the house, I would have a reoccurring dream that I can still remember to this day.
I just want to interject here for a second. Have you ever had a reoccurring dream, or like a dream? Yeah, a reoccurring dream. Okay.
It goes into my my experiences at my old house, like that. I mean, I'll just drop it here, but there was this like, the way my room was positioned, I had my bed, my TV against the wall. Here's my bed, my TV's against the wall. The door's like next to my bed, but in between my bed and the TV was a closet right here on the side. And it was such an old house, and the closet was like kind of like, it was very old, and it just was not like positioned right for the door frame, so it couldn't close all the way.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just you know, that like little crack.
Yeah, of course.
Where it's like just like budged a little bit, and the crack would face me in the bedroom. So it's like whenever I was trying to watch TV, out of the corner of my eye, I just saw this crack in my closet, and it was very creepy, just always very unsettling. And I would always have a reoccurring dream, at least more than one time, like maybe a couple times, 3 or 4 or 5 times, where I'm sleeping in that room in my dream. Like I'm asleep and I also like wake up. And it's oriented the same. It's like I'm awake in my room, and that door would swing open and it'd be like hellfire, and like something very like demonic was coming out of it.
I don't
and
like that.
It was like beckoning almost. It was really weird and creepy. I didn't like it. I hated that fucking room.
And this was in the dream, right?
In the dream. And then I'd wake up and I'd always go and open the closet and look inside and just check, and I'd just be like, look around and like be like, is something in here? Like, and it's just like, no, a couple of old jackets and stuff. It wasn't very crowded because I always like would rip it apart to look to see if something was in there. But yeah, that one fucked me up.
I wonder if that
house was like 120 years old, so
you know, like, well, it could totally be paranormal. I do wonder if maybe, because clearly that crack in the door freaked you out a lot.
Yeah, so maybe it was psychological.
So I was wondering if it was like, you know, I'm not saying that's what it was, but I could totally see that. Because I know, like, you know, obviously dreams are like something that's not super well understood, both scientifically and spiritually, but you know, it depends what kind of person you are, is how you're going to kind of like decide what dreams are. But
and at the time, I was a little bit of a religious fanatic, not like, you know, so it could have very well been just like psychosomatic, anxiety-inducing.
Because like scientifically speaking, with dreams, a lot of scientists believe that we use dreams to help us solve problems.
Yeah.
And maybe that was your brain. Like, unfortunately, your brain was kind of telling you that's evil, but maybe it's just trying to fill in, like, this is what's in there. Whether it's a good or bad thing, I don't know. Or maybe, like, trying to be like, okay, what if this is it's in there? What are you going to do about it? You know, like, who knows? Again, like, I don't know. I mean, there's scientists who are dedicated to sleep study, and they still don't fully understand it. But, and then obviously there's a spiritual side. Maybe it's just trying to tell you something. There's something evil in that house. Who knows?
We'll find out in another podcast. We'll never actually find out, but we'll talk about it.
We need to go back to, I don't know who lives there now, but hey, we need to.
I used to live here.
Can we spend the night tonight?
Can we spend the night for a few nights? And can you guys like get out while we conduct a 2 a.m. investigation?
That'd be cool if they'd let us. I'd love it, but that'd be
sure.
That'd be freaking weird.
I mean, what I remember was like the people we sold it to were like, I think they were moving from Virginia, but it was a family with like 3 daughters, I think.
Virginia's way more haunted than Vermont, so they're good.
Probably. My mother had a priest and a medium come to check out the house and bless it, and was told that the man was full of hate and the woman wasn't evil but wasn't happy. My mother also received a call from an unknown number in the middle of the night at 4 a.m. She described the caller as neither male or female, just a voice. The voice sounded like gurgling, cracking, to start. But then it started asking her how her child was, then gurgling, and then hung up. My mother, unable to call the number back, rushed to my room to find me suffocating in my quilt. The medium also said there was good spirits trying to stop the bad in the house. We recently found out that the house was built on a burial site next to a sanatorium that also helped children. Overall, everyone who stayed for a night or for a few days at a time felt off and saw things. Anyone who stayed over would be watched at night by humanoid figures dressed in old attire. My mother's friends in our family stopped visiting as no one liked being there. Eventually, we had to move out as the activity started to get worse and worse towards the end that no one wanted to stop there. We weren't welcome in the house, and everyone who came knew it. This was 2003, and ever since the house is constantly on the market. Apparently, the medium said the spirits were passing between the buildings. It was terraced. Just wondering if anyone knows what this means. It was in the Gomel area. Thank you for your submission, anonymous user.
So as mentioned, this was in the, what was it? What subreddit was it? Paranormal Encounters? I think it was Paranormal Encounters.
This one you didn't mention.
Oh, I didn't. I'm sorry. It's literally on the thumbnail. I don't know how I didn't mention that. It is on the...
So we've done No Sleep, viewer submission.
Paranormal Encounters, yeah. It's on the Paranormal Encounters one.
Paranormal Encounters.
It's literally on the...
And two from Paranormal Encounters.
It's literally on the freaking thumbnail. So yeah, also thank you, because your story, it was is kind of the, it's the thumbnail, it's the inspiration. So thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
But yeah, no, like it definitely sounds like the house has bad vibes. It's kind of crazy how there's like a battle for good and evil going on. By the sounds of it, like
how poetic.
The medium saying like this is like, there's a good spirit and there's a bad spirit. While I don't know if there might be other spirits, but I wonder if it's I don't know if it's the man and the woman right there, because you'd think they'd be like a married couple, because he said one had hate in his heart and one was unhappy.
Well, that's very presumptuous of you.
Well, that's what it said.
Didn't say they were married.
True. Okay. But they're always together, you would think.
So just because a woman's with a man, that means she belongs to him?
Oh my God. I did not say that. Shut the hell up. Anyways, this war between the...
It's like you didn't grow up with sisters, dude. How dare you?
I grew up with 2 sisters.
I did too.
This war...
But clearly you are still just... Sorry.
You good?
Go ahead. I'm fine.
Oh, okay. This like war between the good and the evil almost kind of seems like you were kind of caught in the middle of it. It seems kind of like because I mean you and your family, not just you obviously, but yeah, no, like I mean it seems to like to me like kind of came to a head when it said that you said your mother rushed to your room to find you were suffocating in your quilt. That's horrifying. I remember. One time my dad had a bad dream. He thought I was not suffocating in my blanket, by the way, but my dad had a horrible dream that I died at an amusement park. And he came rushing into the room, my bedroom, and this is when I was I don't know, probably 15. And he ripped the blanket off my face because he thought I was suffocating. But I always sleep with I love sleeping with blankets and stuff on my head.
Over your face, really?
Yeah. I used to sleep with pillows.
I would be afraid that you were.
I used to sleep with pillows on my head and stuff like that. And he ripped it off, and he's like, "Oh my God, I thought you were dead." And I was like, "No, I was sleeping." But yeah, my dad was super panicked about that. But actually, to find you suffocating in your quilt, that's horrifying. I'm glad you were able to get away from that house, because it does seem like bad juju. It sounds pretty terrible. And the fact that it's constantly on the market, obviously I don't...
Makes me want to check if my old house is on the market. Let me see.
Yeah, maybe we're checking. It makes me kind of obviously, you're not going to go bother people. I understand that. Who wants to just go message some strangers that, hey, did you leave the house because it's haunted? But I would love to know if the people who, the people who sold the house and stuff are actually... Piper's going crazy with the barking right now.
Oh Jesus, dude! Looking at this house gives me the heebie-jeebies.
It gives you like PTSD.
It does actually. Wait, is it on sale? How do I know if it's on
Well, it
sale?
would
Oh,
say
off market.
it
Off
was
market.
off market.
Okay.
You're good.
This
So,
is my old house. I'm gonna link it to you in the disky.
so I guess people are willing to fight the demons at your house at this point, but yeah, no. Again, going back to this, good on them for leaving because this is not fun. All right, and it's also it's kind of cool actually. We had one story from the UK, we had one from India, and the other two. Well, I know that story number 3, the one that was sent to us, that's U.S., but I don't know about the doppelganger story. I don't think it mentioned where they were. So yeah, that's a healthy mix, kind of from around the world. That's kind of cool. So yeah, that was the first episode of Brewed on Reddit. I want to keep doing this. This is also going to help us with the algorithm, I think, because at the moment, if you're new to this, what we normally actually do is we have a podcast and we put an episode up every other week. It's just, as much as I'd like to do it every week, it's a lot of writing and stuff like that, and it's just don't have the time for it. So this is a nice little thing for us to kind of like explore other people's stories. And not gonna lie, I don't have to write them, so it's kind of nice. So thank you again to all 4 of you for sending in your stories. You not only allowed us to start this new segment, which is really exciting, but you saved me from having to do a lot of writing. So I really, really, really do appreciate it. So what do you think for our first episode of this? This is like I said,
like those stories. Yeah, I think they were pretty cool. They reminded me of some of my own like childhood experiences and something that I want to share one day.
And one thing too, like, and this is not a bad thing, like, but these stories like really felt like they felt real. Like, I mean, because it's very easy. I have no way of knowing. No one has no way of knowing anybody who writes a story if it's true or not. But you go on Reddit, and don't be wrong, like especially at the No Sleep Reddit, which don't be wrong I love the No Sleep Reddit, but it does say
there are a lot of embellishments,
right. And to be fair,
like,
No Sleep
maybe
does
like
say
trying to,
it's fictional. It's basically the rules of No Sleep are everything you see is quote unquote real, even if it's fiction. It's just supposed to be like in universe, like this whole thing, which is fine. It's very upfront. But I like how these people just kind of told it how it was. It was still written well, but like they just told it how it was. So again, thanks to all of you. And if you are watching this, and you like this and you like how we handled your story, we would love you to comment. And you can also comment like critiques, because the last thing I want is anybody letting us use their story and then be like, yeah, I really didn't like how you did that. Like, please let me know. That way I don't do it again to somebody else, because I don't want to do that. Also, if you have other stories, send them in to me and we'll put them on here. So I guess if that's one of the benefits of saying, letting us use one of your stories, it means we're open to sending us more if you got more. So
yeah, please.
Especially here in the early stages, we're really going to be grasping for stories. So please send them in. But that's all I have, though. I don't know if you have anything else to add or offer.
Else. I got nothing.
Nothing? Okay.
Nothing.
Well,
no.
Anyways, I guess that's going to do it. And as always, everybody,
you stay spooky.
You stay spooky. Have a great night, everybody.
Hanging out.
Talk to you later.
Good night.